Epic Artists, so glad you're here today. We're going to be making some animal planters. As examples, I have a sheep with some succulents in them and an owl with a baby spider plant. But those are just two examples of animals that you could make. You could make your pet dog or cat or bird, pig, elephant, almost any animal that you can think of. You picked up a kit from Epic. It has clay and underglaze and some tools in it. But in addition to that, some newspaper, 2 bowls of water, a sponge or a rag, and some paper towel would also be good ideas. So the clay will not really hurt the surface, but it could stick to it. So go ahead and just spread out your newspaper in the area that you're going to work, just to protect the table and to keep your project from having to be scraped up. Inside a bag you have about 1 pound of clay, and this is the clay that we're going to use to make our project. This is not a slab project, we're going to be doing a pinch pot. And then you have some underglazes and a popsicle stick, a fork, and a paintbrush. You also have a paper that we're going to be using a little bit later, and a board that you can work on if you would like. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just take a little bit of clay off the top that I'm going to use later to use for my feet and my head. I'm going to be making a llama planter today. I know llamas are pretty popular right now, and I think it would be fun to have a plant in a llama. So, any of you have ever made pinch pots before, you know that there's a tendency for them to kind of flop out. I'm going to just work really hard to keep my clay kind of in a cylinder shape so that it doesn't flop. The first thing I'm going to do is stick my thumb in the middle and just slowly press it down in. I like to keep rotating my cylinder of clay because that keeps me from getting one wall too thin and the other too thick. Our goal is to have walls with nice even thickness. So you'll have something like this where it looks kind of like a donut with a hole in the middle. After I do that, I'm going to start bringing my walls up. So I'm going to pinch them like this, and then I'm going to flip to the next side and just keep going all the way around. You want to have even push on the inside and the outside, otherwise your pinch pot will begin to flop. So that's what it looks like after I've gone around about once. I'm going to flatten it back out. I have a pretty thick bottom, so I'm going to work on getting some of that clay kind of pushed out. Make it look more like a cup. Again, anything you do, just keep rotating it so that you do it all the way around. Now, I'm going to pinch up my walls one more time so that they're a little bit thinner. If you're having trouble with this, it's totally okay just to pause the video, work at your own pace, and then push play again when you've kind of got a handle on your pinch pot. It's also okay if it doesn't work out to put it back in a ball. The only problem is if you work with your clay too much, you could end up with really dry clay that's cracking, and we don't want that. Okay, so here's my little pinch pot. You can see this is kind of similar size to the sheep and the owl. So now I'm going to think about the feet. I can't put really long, skinny legs on my llama. I need to kind of put smaller, thick ones so that it can support the weight of both my pot and my soil and plant as it gets bigger. So I'm going to take, that's a little bit big. I'm going to take and make about 4 balls that are about that size. Might have to play with it a little to get the right size. Want them about the right, same size so that your llama or your animal is standing on even ground. Keep a little bit of clay left for my llama head. Okay, and then I'm just going to roll them kind of into a cylinder, press them down so that they're flat. Kind of reshape them. Again, you can take time to do this and make sure that they look exactly how you want them to look. This guy's a little bit bigger. Okay, now whenever you join clay to clay, you need to make sure that you scratch to attach. And we do that because in the kiln, when this gets fired, if they're not joined well, they'll pop apart. And then your leg or your head or your ear or your wing might fall off in the kiln. Likewise, if you have one side that's scratched and the other one that isn't, it might fall apart as well. So we have to scratch both sides of the clay and really join them together so in the kiln they stay together. So I'm going to flip my llama over. I'm going to think about where I want my legs, just get my fork a little bit wet, and I'm going to scratch into the clay. Then I'm going to scratch one side of my leg. Get it in really good. If you just scratch it lightly, it's not going to grip. And then I'm going to take my popsicle stick and I'm just going to really join these together. And this isn't just for appearances, it also helps it stick together better in the kiln. Now, if you want to do details like drawing the hooves or adding little toes, you're welcome to do that. Just remember you have to keep it pretty stable so that your planter doesn't collapse. You can always use your finger, get it a little bit wet to smooth it out and get rid of some of those marks from your popsicle stick. I'm going to turn it back over and just lightly kind of tap it down to make sure that it sits flat. Now, if you have a sheep or maybe a dog with curly hair, you can add in some texture. This, just used a popsicle stick and made some curly marks. This one with the owl did the outline of the face and then some little moon shapes. These two also have the face right on the planter. I'm going to go ahead and do a separate neck and head just because I think a llama isn't a llama without a neck and some good ears. But You can do it however you want, as long as, again, you make sure that it's kind of stable and secure. So I'm going to save a little bit of clay for the ears, but I'm going to take the rest of it and kind of roll it up into a snake and then fold over the face to kind of make a llama face. Now, it's kind of tricky to know how to stick this on here. You can't really join the bottom of this to here because I am afraid it will just go boing. So what I'm going to do is flatten this out and I'm going to stick it right in here. So again, scratch to attach, lots of scratching on the inside and the outside, both pieces. If your clay's getting dry, again, add a little bit of water. You can even use your finger to add some water. Scratch it in, and then I'm gonna put this neck in. And I'm gonna use my popsicle stick to join these pieces. I want it to make it look like this neck was always here, not like it was added on. So I'm just gonna take a few minutes and really join those pieces together. Again, you can get rid of all those marks with your finger or your sponge. Some of the cracks that you might be getting in your clay, those come out really well with a wet finger. Smooth the side of this so nobody cuts their finger if they pick up my planter. This is where my llama head is. Okay, now a llama's not really a llama without some cool llama ears and a little llama tail. So I'm gonna make some ears. And again, even though it's a really, really small spot, I still need to scratch. I'm gonna scratch the bottom of my ear and the place where it's gonna go. Stick that on there, smooth it with my finger. That llama ear might be a little big, but I can trim it back later if I need to. Another llama ear. If your hand is ever sticking to the clay, it means that it kind of got dried out. So just stick it back in the water. Try again. Okay, there's my llama ears. And then llamas have cute little tails. So I'm gonna make one of those. And you got it, I gotta scratch it. I heard you guys out there saying scratch to attach. Okay, smooth that tail out. So typically, if you would come to a clay studio, you would make something and then you'd pick out your colors before you left. We would put it in the kiln in biscuit, then take it out, glaze it, the colors you selected, put it back in the kiln and glaze it again. Well, these pieces still need to go in the kiln twice, but what we have as an option for the take-home kits are underglazes. And underglazes can actually go on wet clay. So I'm gonna start with the black and make some eyes. So the color of the clay is kind of a light tan. So anywhere that you don't put underglaze, it will be a light tan color. I kind of like the light tan color for my llama, so I'm not going to do too much glazing. But I do think that those blankets that you often see llamas wearing, or pictures of llamas, are really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and make one of those for my llama. So the pieces still have to go in the kiln twice. What will happen is you'll do the underglaze, I'll bisque them, and then I'll put clear glaze over all of them, which will make them great for plants because it will seal that clay so that it won't chip away or turn back into mush when you put your plant in there and you water it. So I'm just doing a white blanket and I'm going to use the back of my paintbrush to make some designs. If you guys have paintbrushes at home that you like more, if you have some sort of roller designer, whatever you want to use is totally fine. Okay, so I'm going to do some orange dots and then some yellow stripes. Sorry, this isn't orange. It looks orange, but it's actually a dark brown kind of terracotta color. Okay, see some there. And then flip it and do the stripes. So if you were going to do a solid color on your animal planter, it would probably be a good idea to do 2 coats. So maybe doing 1 coat, waiting until it dries a little bit, and then doing a 2nd coat, just to make sure that you like it and it's dark enough. I only have 1 paintbrush. If you want to use more paintbrushes, you can grab some of your own, but if you just wash them out in between, should be good. Put the white one back on. And then I'm going to do some yellow stripes. And this will be the end of my llama. You can see that design on there. Okay, so when you're all done, you're going to go ahead and put your initials on it with a popsicle stick or another tool. You can write your initials, your whole name, something so that we know that it's yours. And then you're going to pack up to drop it back off at Epic. So cover all your underglazes. We would love to have these back so that we can keep using them. Any extra clay you have, which I don't have any, stick it back in the bag along with your tools. We will reuse the clay and the tools and then put it all back on your board. After your llama has dried a little bit where the underglaze isn't wet, go ahead and cover it up with a plastic bag so it doesn't dry too fast and crack. Then you're going to just fill out this form, say your name, your parents' name, the project you did, which is animal planter, the date you made it, contact information, how you want us to get a hold of you when your project's done, the name or initials you put on the project, and then any special instructions. This is where if you made like a pig and you want it to be pink, you would go ahead and write, please glaze my pig pink. And then after I pull it out of the bisque, I'll put some pink glaze on there for you. And then any ideas for other take-home kits or Epic classes that you would like to see, just write those in. Stick this in with your animal project and bring it back to Epic, and in a couple weeks we'll call you and let you know that your project is done. Hope that you loved making your animal planter, and see you again soon.